OpenAI just reported over $100 million in just 6 weeks. What does this mean for the AI world and making money online? Well, today, that's what we're going over. Welcome to AI Profit Scoop. This is big news. ChatGPT just announced over $100 million in revenue from their AI ad platform. The same platform just a couple years ago, Sam Altman said was a last resort. And looking at this is big numbers. However, it's not exactly what it might seem. When they say $100 million, that is annualized. That's what they anticipate to make over the course of an entire calendar year of their AI ad system. So we don't want to go out there and think, oh, they just banked all this money in 6 weeks. That's not how it works. However, looking at $100 million in revenue, that is just about 0.025% of what Google makes in a year on their ad platform. This is super important because they kind of came out of the woodworks and started something super big. We can see also that Google is reporting a traffic drop of 33% to publishers, website owners, bloggers, and information publishers everywhere. This is also big news. We can also see that Google still sends more traffic to websites than ChatGPT by a long shot. Over 190 times the amount of traffic. Google is still the big kahuna, the big elephant in the room. However, ChatGPT's ad machine is barely switched on. Less than 20% of eligible users even see an ad, and of those people, they're not seeing that many ads. So let's take a look at what this went from the last resort from Sam Altman to $100 million in 6 weeks. First of all, February 2026, OpenAI turned on ads inside ChatGPT. You probably didn't notice it because most of us have a paid account. 85% of free users are eligible, meaning the inventory is barely even used up. So if we're looking at numbers that small, what they have is a behemoth ad machine ready to take money like crazy. We can see there's only 600 advertisers in the managed pilot so far. April 2026 is when their self-serve is opening. That means people like you and I can go out there. We don't need a $200,000 minimum. We can go through and advertise just like Google AdWords. And a former Meta VP of global advertising is running the whole ad operation, which means there's some big guns behind this. Ads appear below ChatGPT's answer, clearly labeled as sponsored ads. The answer itself is untouched. So what it looks like is I'll be talking to AI, asking tips on how to run faster. It'll answer the tip saying, hey, eat better, run in the morning, and whatever. Then below that, it might say, Nike has an advertisement for the best running shoes. And the AI is able to figure out the intent of the marketing. This is huge news as a search marketer because we want to understand that intent is everything. And while Sam Altman called the ads a last resort, OpenAI lost $5 billion, which is $14 million a day, which means, yes, they need to catch up and make some money. Now, what do ChatGPT ads actually look like? They are clearly labeled as sponsored. We're going to see them right like this little grocery ad right here, which is below their little tips on a potluck or whatever it is. Again, understanding that intent is literally everything. If you can change the intent of someone online or discover or extract the intent, then you can make a lot of money. More about that in just a minute. But of course, we have to remember the results are not typical, implied, or guaranteed. Anyone trying to make money online needs to remember that most people trying to make money online make nothing. This is a business, there is risk, there is reward. What we're going to look at today is how ads work, why advertisers want this revenue, why they want this traffic, what intent is, and the whole 9 yards. Because if I can take someone from saying, hey, I want this thing to now I'm interested in this more expensive market, bingo, that's how Google gets insanely wealthy. But the question is this ChatGPT's AdWords moment? Back in 2003, when I was just a starting internet marketer, I had been in the field for about 4 years at that time, and the internet was new. When Google came out with AdWords, it changed the game entirely. Sure, there had been ad platforms like GoTo, Find What, and all these other ones, but Google AdWords had the lion's share of the traffic, meaning that advertisers could get tons of traffic super fast. Now, before when Google first started, it was only big brands with big budgets that knew what they were doing. After, it opened to self-care, self-serve, which means I can go create an account and run ads right now. The result was that cost per clicks were cheap, competition was thin, the early movers built campaigns that ran profitably for years. Now, fast forward to today. Only 600 advertisers in ChatGPT's new ad platform. April 2026, they are introducing self-serve ads. That's just one day away. The impact could add hundreds of thousands of advertisers in months as the platform scales. The window between barely anyone knows this exists and every brand is fighting for placement is open right now, just like AdWords was in 2003. The conversations are loaded with AI commercial intent. What does this mean? This means when we talk to AI, there's an intent behind the scenes, much like what Google AdWords people try to do, where they're trying to figure out, okay, someone is searching for how to tie a tie. Are they going to a wedding? Are they getting a new job? What are they trying to do? When a user asks ChatGPT, what is that dripping sound in my attic? The real intent is a roof leak or water damage, which leads to $50 to $200 a click. Now, understanding that at the beginning, they're just searching for random things, literally costs nothing or barely anything at all. Then the ad value increases with the intent. Same kind of thing with help me make a budget. That leads to credit card debt consolidation, which oftentimes can be $15 to $15 a click for the advertisers. My landlord won't fix the heat. You could look up tenant lawyer legal advice. Again, that's going upwards of $300 a click or more. Much like back in the early days of AdWords and AdSense, we had mesothelioma lawyer, which was a term that paid $935 a click. That means these lawyers were paying tons of money for this traffic. Just imagine what happens when ChatGPT has access to all of these advertisers. Now you have people looking for random things that could lead to mesothelioma lawyer, and now these lawyers are willing to pay big money for one click to their website. And ChatGPT has been found to show much more profitable clicks, which means it's almost like warm market advertising where you don't have to prime the pump. They're ready to go. The key insight here is that a keyword tells you what someone searches. A conversation tells you why. And that context is worth more to advertisers. And I'm guessing this is going to be worth hundreds of billions, maybe even $1 trillion to ChatGPT if done correctly. But time will show. They don't always do everything correctly, as we've seen in the past. The same categories that built AdSense fortunes are coming to ChatGPT. This is the big takeaway. You got keywords like mesothelioma, personal injury, roofing, auto insurance, and all of these terms that are paying big money. These are the same industries that we saw go from the yellow pages to AdWords to Facebook, and now is coming to AI in the form of ChatGPT ads and soon to be Claude ads and other AI ads. This is super big. These are the same people that want the same type of traffic, only ChatGPT is delivering a better quality visitor. Now, I'm guessing that these cost per clicks is going to skyrocket once they understand how intent works and bake in AI advertising understanding where it knows exactly what that user wants and why. The fact is, OpenAI needs ads to survive, and that's actually good news for us marketers. We can see in 2024, they posted a $5 billion loss. $12 billion in quarter three of 2025 alone, $74 billion projected operating losses in 2028. That's what they're guessing. $1.4 trillion in infrastructure commitments over 8 years. Quite simply, they are in way over their head and they need ads to survive. Even if they were to make the amount Google makes off ads starting today, that's a 5-year rate to even barely break even at that. The takeaway is that when a platform's survival depends on its ad product working, it prioritizes advertiser ROI, which means the amount advertisers are making on an ad. That means they are dedicated to making the advertisers more money. If we're the advertisers, they're going to use their algorithms and AI and tools to find that and make it happen. That's the same pressure that made Google AdWords great. And let's just hope ChatGPT has some of the same good stuff that AdWords has. AI is a rewarding community, and it's destroying generic content. You can look at different sites out there that are losing massive amounts of traffic. Yes, the traffic numbers are going up, but it's all bot traffic, like Reddit, 16% growth, but a lot of it's AI. GitHub, Wikipedia, Medium, WikiHow, Quora, Stack Overflow, and more. The people that are going to win in the age of AI are the people who bring humanity to their content, going live, creating opinion pieces, polarizing advice and tips and tools and different things like that that speak human to other humans. The pattern is sites that gave clean answers to specific questions are being displaced. Sites with community, debate, live experiences are growing. This is a big sector to get in on because this drives the ad market, the revenue, and more. And nothing converts like a live webinar, a live talk show, or anything like that. Those convert like crazy. When we look at this, we have to understand the cheap traffic model is broken. Going out there and getting clicks for 2 cents, that's starting to dwindle. When we look at AI, we're starting to get a much more targeted prospect where we have generic informational content. This is getting replaced by AI overviews and chatbot answers. In my opinion, Google's kind of shooting themselves in the foot by providing so much AI content, which isn't why I use Google in the first place. I want Google to answer my questions and find good research, not necessarily have a robot tell me what I want to hear. What AI can't synthesize is community, opinion, firsthand experience, proprietary data, interactive tools, and more. Intent-driven traffic is rarer on the open web and therefore more money to advertisers. That means advertisers will pay more for this because they know the intent behind it. Whether someone wants to buy, sign up, learn something, or fill out a form, we need to understand that intent. That is everything. We can also see that ChatGPT referrals average 15 minutes on site. That means a visitor comes from ChatGPT, they stay on the site 15 minutes versus just 8 minutes for Google referrals. 7% conversion rate versus 5%. ChatGPT AI answers convert like crazy. The key here is owning your audience. Whether it's your email list, your community, YouTube, niche tools, all of this is no longer optional. It's the only durable asset. I've been talking about this for years. What we have to understand here is that the ad market is shifting. The operators who understand intent will win. The ad market isn't shrinking, it's shifting. Google, $402 billion. ChatGPT coming out of the gate swinging $100 million and just barely getting started. High intent traffic has never been worth more, precisely because it's getting rarer on the open web. The conversion ad model favors high intent niches. When someone asks, "What should I do about my roof?" they're deciding, not just browsing. This is important. And as we'll see in the April 26, 2026 self-serve launch, the early mover window is open right now. The big change, the skill of connecting commercial intent to a relevant offer is key. Stay ahead of the shift. Join us over at AIProfitScoop.com. Check the videos in the description, smash the like button, and I'll see you in the next AI Profit Scoop news update.